What do you think? Should I stop making videos where I'm wearing pajamas? I feel like, um, I mean, I don't give a fuck about anything, like people's opinions at all, because I like what I've been through and what I know. But I feel like if I make videos where I'm at least minimally dressed, kind of makes it harder to call me crazy. Other than the fact I'm evidently logical and I show no signs of a real thought disorder, other than saying hard to believe things, um, you know, people are biased. So if you're wearing pajamas when you say something, it makes it easier for them to say, like, oh, you must be nuts. Just bias, right? It's interesting how they've used the medical system to persecute me in the sense, in the sense, that's very distracting. I'm gonna put it on mute. In the sense, um, they've leveraged the hospital system to label me mentally ill. When I say they, I'm talking about literally the CIA working for billionaires, right? People don't realize this, but if what a lot of what I'm saying will be substantiated if you actually listen to real, freely disseminated information by CIA officers and agents. Like, for example, the idea that the CIA is around you ever. Like, actually, they're on record freely saying this. Like, almost everybody has in their daily life, just going to the store or living about their life, probably encountered an officer, an agent in some kind of operation, as they're literally all over society. Um, and the idea, like, oh, that's insane. Why would the CIA be this involved in people's lives? And it's like, are you paying attention to what's going on right now? We're living in an insane society. People are literally, I mean, they're calling me crazy, but people are literally mentally ill at this point. Like, you have so many hives of cults with crazy delusions. You think that just happened organically? That the wealthiest nation on earth, with one of the highest standards of living, that everybody descended into madness? You don't think that there's some element of a guiding hand to this? So the idea, like, that the CIA working for the billionaire class is literally controlling people through insane beliefs. You don't have to take my word for it. You could just walk down the block in any city and look at all the people with MAGA shit on their houses, or the more secret and more fascist cult that Google created right after 9/11. The evidence of intelligence manipulation is all around us at this point. And honestly, to say it's crazy is just simply ignorance. Like, literally, they're on record saying there are agents all around you. You almost certainly have met agents many times in your life. And we can see with our own eyes, society is devolving into a Manson cult like insanity. Insanity. And what me simply neutrally saying, yeah, that's because the billionaire class is using intelligence to confuse and bamboozle people, using stuff like social media as a tool, um, to create more and more inequality. And eventually, I believe this killed the liberal world entirely. I mean, to say that sounds crazy is actually crazy when you can look at what's going on. To think that people came to all of this of themselves. An organic phenomenon not guided by anyone with more power and knowledge. You know, just defies reality. Like, when fascist and communist revolutions took hold in nations in the past, it's because things were really, really bad and people were desperate. Um, the idea that so many fanatical cults would take hold in society when things are not bad. They could become bad, especially when you see the billionaire class consolidating power and wealth and taking it from people. But they're not bad yet. Why on earth would people devolve into fanatical religious like cults? And every last cult in society devolves into a feudal like system where this is the divine order of how a society should be constructed, like a feudal system. You don't think the CIA has something to do with that, right? Like, honestly, when I say, oh, it's all the work of intelligence, like, it actually, the data supports that conclusion. I feel like people saying, like, that idea is crazy. It's kind of banking on the America we used to have. Like, if you said the CIA is controlling everything and directing us in 2000, in 1990, there's no data to support that, right? Like, no, the CIA, they're mostly concerned with foreign enemies, like, hello, communist spies and stuff, going overseas to protect our country. You know, like that whole like it's crazy to suggest the CIA is being used against the people of our nation to divide it and destroy it for the billionaire class to destroy the liberal world and rule with impunity as kings in a divine order of a post industrial feudal system that they view as immortal good in this cult. To suggest that in the year 2000 or 1990, you would seem crazy. It was true then, but there was no evidence people could see with their eyes and ears. Honestly, the fact that you would say that today, like everything you see, is because the CIA has been doing it for the billionaires, right? To deny it at this point is more crazy. Like, you're trying to tell me in the richest country in the world where everything is fine, and even if things are getting worse, they're not bad yet. They're not Great Depression level where a communist revolution or a fascist revolution could take hold organically because people so desperately want change. How did so many people get to join insane cults, right? Like, most people only know of the MAGA cult, but even progressivism has a cult like quality. It did. And was very much leaning into right wing memes until Google Revolution refined it into literally a cult more fascist than MAGA. Like in Google Revolution, there are no elites who have to pay. The evil is literally a vibe of an evil soul that needs to be purged. And the most specious evidence of the class they create that's immortally evil and the victims put into it is all they need, right? And everything bad that happens is the work of this class and its secret evil undermining them and destroying. Like literally, that's what they've created a class of Nazi that functions exactly like the eternal Jew in all ways. In the sense the elites make it, the people are brainwashed into a religious feudal psychology where class inequality is divine and the good will be on top, special with the elites. The evil, all evil in society is done by the eternal whatever, and the most spacious evidence is used to put people in the class, which has no relation to what they really do or who they really are. Much in the way the eternal Jew class in Germany was not somebody who practices Judaism. It was just that was like a superficial overlap of this eternal Jew who's secretly, you can't see it, working to destroy you, and everything they do is to harm you, and they can never do anything else, right? So that's how people who are identifying as Jews become put in that class. In my case, the eternal Nazi functions in a similar way. Like the elites, their hands are forced. Like it's the Nazi at the bottom, right? And that would be somebody who professes to believe in white supremacy and wants a white supremacist society, right? And the fact I had a mental health breakdown 25 years ago is why I'm put in this class. But in all the ways the eternal Jew class functioned in Germany is how this group conceptualizes Nazis. Like, it doesn't matter what you are, who you are, how you live, nothing. Like, once you are put in the class, based on like a superficial thing that has no relevance to all the other qualities. Why that the mythical Satan-like characteristics of this class are harming you. You come to take on this Satan-like quality where it's like you're just going to destroy us, and that's a way of making them not care about real oppressors, and how no matter what they say, like you're far right, like you don't want to make more class equality. You don't care about real power. You certainly don't care about equity. Like you literally fancy yourself a special glowing angel who's eternally oppressed and actually really good. And the secret evil is working against you that you have to purge, and invariably the oppressors at the top, just like in Nazi Germany, the Aryan bankers in the Weimar Republic were the Aryan bankers in Nazi Germany too, and they didn't care. Like the same guy who took their farm is now a hero because he's now a Nazi banker, I guess. Like in the National Socialist system. That's how these people think, for real. Like they're more far right than MAGA. At least they're, like I said, at least MAGA had an element of like some of these elites have used their class power against us. And then it's like, but like 80%, these people are 100% fascist. Down to inventing a mythical class with no power, with vague superficialities that they put people in to purge them, to feel like they're getting Satan, to preserve a rigid hierarchy of class where they're special and floating around as angels and closer to the king gods, you know? But like I said, like, I don't really care, and I know I'm not going to influence anybody, and I know there's no reach to my videos at all. I don't expect that whatsoever. But it's kind of funny how they just get away with calling me crazy, despite the fact I have no thought disorder. I'm logical. I'm smarter than you, probably. I'm definitely smarter than most people. And everything I say, there's no bizarre quality in anything I say. Like, oh, you want to know why everyone's like a freakish cult member? Despite the fact there's no major social... That's the CIA. Passively influencing and controlling social media and things like this. That's the CIA has been working on how to make cults and make cults violent since they were still worried about communism, right? Like they've been working on how to influence, control minds, everything. And getting people to go into occult psychology, and fascism is very much a religious cult-like psychology. Like I said, since the 60s. And the number one enemy of the CIA has always been progressivism, socialism, and communism. And it's really no surprise. It's no surprise, but yet it's still surprising to me because it's just like, wow, how did they do that? They took the last dying gasp of progressive socialist sentiment and made them more fascist than MAGA. And it's the literal billionaire CIA controlling it, but they are absolutely convinced this is equity and justice in a leftist way. Like, the fact they don't educate people what fascism really is, it has nothing to do with what race, what religion, or even traditional family. Those are tools to get you into a religious cult brain where you want a feudal system in a post-industrial society. That's what it boils down to. And so you could change those labels as long as they have those certain overlapping qualities, like no longer are you concerned with what's really done, but how you were born. Your ascribed characteristics make you good or bad, or more prone to good or bad, but you know, it's always with you, that tendency to evil. And a class that is created that's all bad, that's undermining society, that has all the power, not the Aryan banker, not the billionaire, the all bad class is what's in the way. And people get put in that class for specious reasons that are slightly overlapping with the qualities of the mythical class. Like in Germany, it was the eternal Jew who's constantly undermining and working to destroy the Aryan and oppress them and hold them down and stop their innate goodness and innate greatness. And in this cult, it's the eternal Nazi who is doing the same thing despite no power. They are responsible for everything going wrong. right? And the elite class is creating this wonderful new order where the eternal Nazi will pay and be purged, and the all good people who are innately oppressed by birth, innately morally pure by birth, they only ever do bad under the influence of the eternal Nazi, um, will rise with them, and they draw triangles and everything, and they think they're leftist. It's amazing. Like you really step back and look at it, like, huh, that is a fucking. They took the last dying gasp of progressivism and made like the most fascist cult of all the billionaire cults. But because they like weirdly use the word equity in the most perverse fashion, like they use the word equity. Imagine if Nazis called joining the SS and being like a high ranking member like this is equity because like the Aryan was oppressed. So now that you're a member of the now that you're helping the same Aryan bankers that took your house in the Depression and you're getting the eternal Jew, you're getting equity by getting money and privileges to help that same Aryan banker. like that's how these people use the word equity. Like we're getting the eternal Nazi. It's just like a nurse who is more progressive than almost all Americans. and the what I'm owed is mine now as a special oppressed person. And it's like who's giving it to you? Who's giving like the goose? Who's giving it to you meme? Like it's the same guy who kicked me in the face for decades and centuries. Like, okay. Yeah, I couldn't do it because of you. You. It's like literally what Nazis believed. Like, all the all good ends are done by the eternal Jew. It's like, who's the eternal Jew? Is it the couple of Jewish bankers next to Ariel? No, the eternal Jews in this ghetto. There's a 6-year-old boy. They practice the Judaism and they're going to kill you. Just their existence, breathing air is a privilege. It is oppressing you, holding your greatness. They're the ones that made you broke. And it's like, oh, that's cool. That's real fucking cool. It's like, so who's setting this up? These same Aryan bankers that took your house last year when the Depression and the Deutschmark went in the toilet. They're like, now they're the National Socialist Bank of Germany. It's the same. Same, except they just changed like the labels, like what the all bad classes and what the eternally oppressed good classes. But the same theme of like the same dude that stole your shit last year is now good. Like, yeah. They gave me a special title SS officer. And they told me I'm oppressed and eternally good and I can't do evil because I'm good by nature. And the only way I do evil is fighting this cause, like becoming a communist or a socialist. And if I do like wanton weird evil, it's under influence of the eternal whatever, making that I have to do that because of them, you know? It's like, yeah. So anyway, like I was saying, like, I probably like shouldn't build videos where I'm like not dressed, wearing jams, because like then it's easier for their orbiter ass lickers drawing triangles on their head to be like, you're crazy. Despite the fact I have no signs of mental illness. I'm evidently logical. I'm probably smarter than you. And what I'm saying is really not, like, honestly, the hard to believe nature of what I'm saying is only because the control is so tight. People accept that everyone went crazy organically. If you actually do research on this, the CIA freely admits on their many YouTube channels, like, yeah, we have agents all over. They're constantly in your shit. And you can also correlate that with other evidence. They've been researching how to make people cult-like, religious brain delusional to control them, related to stuff like MK Ultra. And so just usually look what's going on, like, yeah, that's the CIA. Like, they made people, everyone in America, absolutely batshit, using social media as a tool. Every billionaire you see is pretty much related to the intelligence community. The intelligence community functions something as like the priest class in a feudal system, in the sense their goal is to control the minds of people to preserve the power structure, right? What people don't realize, though, is you conceptualize the CIA as mostly working on foreign enemies to America and enemies within who want to destroy America. What you can't possibly comprehend is that the billionaire class and their priests, the highest agents in the agency, their goal is to destroy America, right? Like, it's something that you can't accept or comprehend, but the highest level intelligence agency members and the elite wealth class literally want to destroy America. And the reason this is so, we can speculate why, but I think it's because America was so infiltrated by the illiberal world and the communist world that there's just no one in any position of power who wants to preserve the concept of a liberal democratic nation at all. I don't know how long it's been like that, if it's been like that forever. I mean, again, this is because I'm not crazy. I'm not going to say things I have no data for. I do have data that people did not, in a wealthy, stable nation, did not just spontaneously go crazy. This is perfectly substantiated by the known evidence. The CIA is very important in America every day, day to day, and the entertainment community and the social media. And so if everyone's joining like a weird cult, it's probably them influencing that transition, given there's no great social instability that would prompt such a thing. They want to make you believe, like one common explanation I hear a lot is Obama made them crazy because they're so racist. But you have to really fight the awareness that Obama won 2 terms. So if there was just this, if the driver is a sublimated racism that's so great, people will destroy their own nation over it and go into cults over it. How did Obama win a second time? That these elite orbiters tried it because again they want you to scapegoat the bottom. They want everyone psychologically fascist, and that's what fascism is. It's a religious, post-industrial feudal system, religious brained heavily, where you have believe and have faith in nonsense, where classes are immutable, the good have what they have because they're good and special, the untouchables, the eternal whatever is innately bad, can only be bad, and the top, above all else, they want you to conceptualize as the top is immortal, unchangeable, divine, can only be that way. Everything depends on their existence, right? So they don't care how you get to that point as long as you at that point, right? A lot of the orbiters on the left and progressive and libs will say Obama made racists crazy, and that's why they went into this. But it defies logic in the sense, if that's true, and there was just this burgeoning, bubbling, severe racism in America, I'm not denying racism. I'm saying like enough to the point it would make them insane and want MAGA. There's no way Obama could have won a second term. Because hypothetically, these people driven mad by the idea we have a black president would have acted in 2008, 2012. I mean, they would have come out in force, voted harder against him, and he would have lost. But that's not what we saw. Like, Obama was a very popular president, and he easily won a second term. So it's just something else. Something else is why so many people went to MAGA, and it wasn't Obama. Because if it was Obama, we would have seen this in 2012, where these racists who can't stand a fair liberal society working towards progressivism came out in force and sabotaged Obama, or at least tried heavily to sabotage. I mean, I'm not denying that did exist, Obama birtherism and all this shit, but it wasn't like the people. The people liked Obama, and he won a second term. Second term. So it has to be something else. And I'll tell you what it is, the fucking CIA and the billionaires pumping poison at people to distract them from the loss of liberal rights that's been going on since W and getting only worse. Any explanation but that is a lie. It's an organized effort with the billionaire class and the highest levels of intelligence to create the MAGA cult. And they want you to blame the bottom. But the explanation that America is so racist that they'd rather destroy the country in MAGA than have a black president. It's like, no, because if that was true, he wouldn't have won a second term. Because this sentiment would have been triggered immediately in 2008, and it would have come to roost in 2012, but it didn't. Cults don't need a reason. I mean, there are predisposing factors to joining a cult, and social instability is a huge one. But with enough intelligence work, a completely stable person who's prone to it can join a religious feudal cult, just with enough propaganda and mind control. And that's kind of what happened. Yeah, yeah. The orbiters will always lead you to explanations that it's the bottom's fault. They really want this. The elites are passive victims of a supply and demand problem of America wanting this. It's completely, they say this while they sell blue sky as an uncontrolled algorithm. So at one hand, this goes to the 1984 levels of mind control. Like blue skies literally say, aren't you sick of going on regular billionaire media and everywhere you look, they're pumping MAGA? You want to fucking find out how to garden and they're leaning you to MAGA? You're looking at feminism and then they're telling you some shit like feminists whose biggest problem is trans people. Like it's everywhere on billionaire social. But here you can actually pick what you like. And you can pick the content without crazy messages. So one hand's saying that, and the other one is saying, no, this is a supply and demand problem. The billionaire, he's sitting there, Zuckerberg with his fucking white boy fro and gold chain. Oh, I'm gonna make glasses that water your brainwaves. He just had no choice. And it's like their algorithms are literally designed to pump subliminal MAGA propaganda at you so that then they can recommend more to you, and ideally, you will become a MAGA from it. That's not supply and demand. That's supply and supply, and you have no choice. So the supply is killing your brain until, if you're weak and stupid, you join a cult. That's supply and supply. Demand doesn't feature. Demand is only like, which supply works better on you because we have a goal-directed mission to make you a crazy cult member. MAGA didn't happen from supply and demand. MAGA happened from carefully constructed, intelligence-related algorithms to turn people into crazy cult members despite the fact no major social instability would precipitate that. So then they could circle back with their as above, so below bullshit and be like, it's their fault. And that's what they do. Like, they make these people doing incredible fucking evil feel virtuous and blame the victims. Like, they say nonsense schizophrenic shit like blue sky actually isn't weighted. And then it's like, but it's just a supply and demand. It's not a supply and demand. But it was like, have you used social media? I used to bitch about this. Like, I can't fucking turn this shit box off without some bullshit that's going to lead to, like, even health internet. Eat liver and don't take vaccines, and that'll lead you into the fucking web, right? Doesn't really matter, but I find it remarkable and interesting how they just gaslight me by calling me crazy and schizophrenic when I'm evidently logical. There's nothing bizarre about what I'm saying. Any confabulation what I'm saying is bizarre is only from a profound ignorance perspective. Like you're literally so stupid and so ignorant. You can't hear the words I'm saying. Like in a socially stable society, the only way people in masses can join a cult and become cult-like is if there's some psychologically skilled manipulator of information that can make stable people crazy, like join cults, like the CIA's on record trying to do for the past 60 years. Learn how to do better and better. And yeah, that could make stable people join a cult if they're prone to like religiosity and faith and groupthink, if you poison the well with enough manipulated information to get that outcome, despite the fact there's really no material reason they should be trying to upend their society. To say what I'm saying is like absolutely crazy. It's like, they're tearing everything down. I told you that, and that's another thing, like my predictions come true. I have been telling and saying before Trump part 2 happened, like they're going to tear down the country. They're going to completely obliterate the social safety net. They're going to abolish Medicaid, welfare, SNAP, all this shit. There's going to be one hospital for miles. At the end of this, you'll be competing for food. Yeah, they're going to bankrupt all the farms, and they'll lower your expectations from mind control and rewarding the most cult-like people. That if you get first line in Google food buffet, you're somebody and you're special. And basically everything I predicted is happening, yet they still call me crazy. And one thing I've said about this cult is they're completely inept, and it's simply because the total power of the corruption that they get away with this, in the sense, everything I'm saying is evidently true, evidently logical. It actually requires more effort to ignore the information to make what I'm saying seem outrageous or crazy. But like I said, in corruption, you don't need competence. Like the old right-wing liberal slur, corrupt crony systems like communism let incompetent people do well and be insulated from their incompetence because nothing matters, everything's rigged. That's kind of like what's going on now in this end-stage capitalist amalgamation with the former USSR, is that like you could be the most stupid, incompetent motherfucker. It will not matter because truth no longer matters, competency no longer matters, nothing matters but this crony stranglehold of power, right? So I feel like I'm being labeled crazy very similarly to like how in communist states they label dissidents crazy, in the sense like evidently what they're saying is true. Everyone knows it. And it actually takes a lot more effort to deny the evidence of their eyes and ears, but they do it because of the total stranglehold of power that stifles everything real, everything quality, truth, common sense. And so they just get away with calling me schizophrenic, despite the fact I'm not saying anything bizarre. It takes more effort to deny the evidence what I'm saying is potentially true than it does to dismiss it as completely impossible. It takes more effort, meaning there's more circumstantial evidence for what I'm saying than not. To dismiss it outright as an insane delusion takes more effort versus say, oh, it could be going on. I mean, there's a lot of data for that. But far from saying it's so absurd it's schizophrenic, Or the idea even that they would, to control progressives and make them psychologically fascist, to control them, assign them one woman to attack. Like, that's not absurd in any fucking way. When you take that piece of information I just gave you and see what they're doing in broad society, we have one crazy fucking cult called MAGA. They're literally actively tearing down society. So when I say like a part of it was taking one person or a couple of people and using them as props for a psychologically fascist cult that the CIA is controlling, that's not so crazy. I mean, there's less evidence for that unless you're in the cult, it's true, or adjacent to it. But even that proposition is not wildly insane. Like, schizophrenic delusions are stuff like, my dog's brain is my brain. We share a wavelength. Like, I know exactly I can read Tulip's thoughts. Like, that's kind of stuff schizophrenic people say, because it's just completely, they're nuts, right? Like, there's no logical train of thought. There's no data for it. What I'm saying is all reasonable. If it's not true, it would be a delusion, but it's not a crazy, bizarre delusion. And given I have no other symptoms of schizophrenia, the fact that they label me with this and get away with it is like actually evidence everything I'm saying is true. No psychiatrist on earth would call me schizophrenic who is fairly evaluating me at all. I have no negative symptoms. The only symptom I have, if I am, again, going by the checklist, would be the positive symptom of a delusion. Again, that's if it were not true, but it's not a bizarre delusion. It's completely possible that could happen. It's completely possible, given, especially with what we're seeing, that they're tearing down the country, destroying the social safety net. We can visibly see they made a lot of cult members in this group called MAGA, that they also made a weird call to harvest the last dying gasp of progressivism centered around psychologically fascist scapegoating of people, and they're attacking her. It would be a delusion if it were not true, but not a bizarre delusion. It could happen. Bizarre delusions are delusions that are literally materially impossible to happen, and it shows a brain disease where you come up with ideas that are just nonsense, right? If you have a delusion that could happen, like for example, say I thought I was the illegitimate child of I don't know, Donald Trump. Say I thought my mom secretly had an affair with Donald Trump when I was his kid. That's a delusion, but it's not a bizarre delusion. It could hypothetically happen. We lived in New Jersey. We went to Lake City a lot. It's unlikely, and it's crazier than what I'm saying, but it could happen. You see non-bizarre delusions in a lot of conditions. If the only symptom is a non-bizarre delusion, there's literally no basis to call that person schizophrenic. But the fact they do that and get away with it is actually evidence everything I'm saying is true. There's no motive for any psychiatrist on earth to call me a schizophrenic, but they reliably make them do that. Like, it's interesting to see how the shit they write down changes because they make me see a doctor, right? So first they'll start with stuff like anxiety, depression with psychosis, things more believable, delusional disorder, which would fit. And then they just go right paranoid schizophrenia. There's no psychiatrist on earth that would think I'm schizophrenic. I mean, unless they were forced and made to write that. Psychosis, NOS could fit. Yeah, I actually like that they do it because it's like, it makes me feel more like a dissident in communism. Like, that they get away with this shit is proof everything I'm saying is true. Stupid people don't matter, but educated people matter, and they'll know. And it's like a way of validating. You're in a corrupt system that's dying, the last gasp of America and the liberal world, and you're partaking in it. And if you want to partake in it, you're either stupid or evil. And if you don't want to partake in it, you're kind of a victim too. That's what it says to me. So I like that they do that instead of write psychosis NOS to make it more believable. Like, that you to try to make it believable is proof everything I'm saying is true. The main accusation I'm making, that in conjunction with all the evidence available, is not that crazy at all. And so I started saying, like, it makes it easier for their ass lickers. Usually the agents and the orbiters will, weirdly, they like to use enemy PFP accounts. I don't know why. I'm going to tell you something. I think the reason so many agents and orbiters, when they're making alt-right personas, communist personas, they put an enemy PFP. I think the reason they do that is, I'm going to tell you this. I have this experience from being harassed by them for 3 years, to my knowledge. They're really obsessed with the idea of Satanism and attacking women and children sexually, right? So I think the reason so many agents are toward using enemy PFPs, you can see them online posing as Nazis, as communists, is that it literally excites them to imagine deception coupled with children. I'm gonna go out there and say that it excites them to imagine deceiving people coupled with children. So they needlessly go into strategies like that would attract a child, like a cartoon picture. It's because a lot of these people literally do weird occult practices. Like, again, this is about them, like being, they're in these so many layers of control and cult. They themselves are kind of cult like. Like, again, the CIA is on record saying it functions a lot like a cult. And so, as a test and devotion ritual, they make them do weird occult practices as a test to see who's a good fit and who and has more control. They have their own quasi religion of weird occult practices and beliefs. And part of it involves harming kids. And so I think the reason so many agents like to use cartoon pictures when they're deceiving people is it makes it more rewarding, like they're at a park giving candy to a baby. It makes them feel more like a pedophile, like what a pedophile is motivated by, which is something innocent and with no knowledge being controlled by you. And I think you can always clog agents by that way. They'll always use cartoon pictures as their PFPs. Actual people are less likely because they're more honest and open. Like, I'm an adult. I don't have a motive of it doesn't make me tickled in a weird pedophilic high to imagine you as a baby that I'm controlling. But they do. So they like to use pictures um, to make it feel like their marks are little kids being suckered and controlled in their web. It's kind of sick. So I anticipate a lot of PFP pictures will be responding to this, who are agents. But yeah, nothing I say is outlandish. It's all very possible. The evidence of our eyes and ears suggests it's more likely true than not. But they can get away with calling me schizophrenic. And I like that they do it because it's like it admits to me one of two things, that this person writing this label is either a fucking moron who wants the death of America, or evil who wants the death of America. You know, a corrupt system they think they will benefit from, or alternatively, they're just as forced as me, and they're like passive actors, like going along with commie shit, truthfully. And yeah,